champions of logic and justice. So I think there needs to be sort of a redress of grievances. I understand completely that the analogy that I use about psychic space goblins is a little bit confusing. And I'm gonna unpack it because there's a lot in there and it's hidden. And I just noticed I got resistance to some of these things that are hidden in that argument. Meaning, I wasn't literally saying it's necessary that they're psychic. I just wanted to use that as a medium to analogize a high order being, meaning a being that is sufficiently sentient to be comparable or superior to humans, that have no capacity for reciprocity between us. So what I mean by that is they can't talk to us. They have no ability. And that was to isolate this issue that Matt had brought up about why we shouldn't be killing each other. And again, if I'm not getting that right, correct me, but I believe what he was saying is that because we can have a contract, it means that we can work together ethically or morally. It means that we can cooperate with a contract, and therefore should not be killing each other. And my thesis is that that's irrelevant in the face of higher order beings that cannot contract with us, who want to kill us. And I'm not arguing for... I was also sort of addressed like, oh, that's sort of unrealistic. I'm not necessarily saying that this is a reality. I'm using it to demonstrate that the logic is fallacious. And if you want my exact claim, it's that this reciprocity argument is actually special pleading with respect to the human species, because we can communicate with humans, and we can't really, we don't have that contractual ability with animals, at least in the same sense. And I'm demonstrating by calling them psychic here. Call it any other thing, I'm just using psychic. They have an alternative form of communication. Or maybe they have a rule about not interacting with us. So because they're still sufficiently sentient, and I'm actually doing more damage by putting them at greater sentience than us, because now they're just copying us. And that's why this is infinite regress, because so there's actually multiple fallacies being stacked up here. And so the big one, though, it's really special pleading, and that's why I made them psychic. It's not to say they have to be psychic, it's to say they have an alternative form of communication, and we cannot reciprocate with them. Does that justify them in exterminating our species or factory farming us. And I am under the belief that it's still morally unethical for them to do that to us. Uh, and to sort of drive that point home, if you actually don't believe that, if you believe they're morally justified because they view us as primitive savages making animal noises, then you would genuinely feel no anger if if these beings came into your house and literally slaughtered your family alive right in front of you. You would just think, well, it's just a part of nature. And so that's what I'm saying about the moral truth behind the psychic space goblins. I think there was another issue that was brought up, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm covering all my bases here. Actually, I think that was the big one. Uh, yeah. Okay, so this was presented here. Ultimately he says, if a bunch of goblins thought we looked tasty and wanted to eat us, and they tried to eat us, we would fight back. If we had no way to fight back, we would end up dead. Now try explaining to these psychic goblins that killing you is wrong. That actually doesn't offer any legitimate defense for the position, and it's ultimately a concession that there is a moral obligation here if you actually value sentience. So, I mean, this is the claim. By saying that, you're making the claim that might is right. That's it. You're just saying, yeah, well, if they fought back and can't fight back, then it's morally justified. And that's not actually acceptable with respect to ethics or morals. This person goes on to say, a moral obligation basically amounts to anything that is 100% necessary for mutual cooperation, such as don't kill each other, don't steal, don't rape. It's obligatory for society for obvious reasons. So here's why it's necessary to not do this with respect to the psychic space goblins that cannot reciprocate with us on a contractual level. If you demonstrate these axioms of killing sentient creatures, you give permission to have that done to you. And so actually you retract your ability to have mutual cooperation with them, and that's a problem. I mean, I more or less I sort of argued back on this video, but I didn't. I just added a few things. Finally, I'll finish with something I did already tell this person this, but I'll just say it again, because my voice is clear if I write it and speak it. Eating plants is not immoral because plants aren't sentient. So, yeah. Oh, I didn't say this. If you're watching this, and before you say I can't survive only on meat, actually, I would never say you can't survive only on meat. Of course you can. It's not healthy. Yeah, that's all. Okay. So that's my my redress of grievance. If I'm getting Matt's position wrong, tell me. I have a powerful intuition that I know is correct about this issue, and I know that we can find each other's position and expose one of them if we have this conversation for long enough.